Chapter 1. The Young Dreamer. In the heart of Michigan, amidst rolling fields and under the vast open sky, young Henry Ford's story begins. Born into a world where the horse and plough ruled, Henry's childhood was marked by curiosity and a burning desire to understand how things worked. Unlike other children who might have been content with the rhythms of farm life, Henry was fascinated by machines. Every cog and wheel, every lever and bolt spoke to him of possibilities yet to be discovered. Henry's family farm was a world away from the bustling cities and their emerging industries, but it was here, among the quiet fields, that Henry's dream took root. He would watch the steam engines chug by on the nearby tracks, leaving clouds of white smoke against the blue sky, and imagine a future where machines made life better for everyone. It wasn't just the mechanics that captivated him. It was the promise of what those machines could achieve. As he grew, Henry's thirst for knowledge only intensified. He spent countless hours tinkering with anything he could get his hands on. The family's timepieces, farm equipment, and even his mother's sewing machine. Nothing was safe from his curious hands. Through trial and error, he learned the basics of mechanics and engineering. These early experiments were the foundation of his education, a hands-on curriculum driven by relentless curiosity. The local schoolhouse provided Henry with the basics of reading, writing, and arithmetic, but the lessons that stuck with him were those learned in the workshop of his mind. He envisioned a world where hard labor was not the fate of the many but a choice, where machines could do the heavy lifting, leaving people free to pursue their dreams just as he pursued his. One day, Henry encountered a stationary steam engine, and it was a revelation. The way it transformed fuel into motion fascinated him. It was a glimpse into the future he imagined, a world moved by the power of engines. With a fervor that only a true visionary could possess, Henry set out to learn everything he could about engines and how they worked. His journey led him away from the farm and into the city, where the Industrial Revolution was in full swing. He found work in a machine shop, and it was there, among the sparks and the clang of metal, that Henry's dream began to take shape. Night after night he would return home, his mind buzzing with ideas, and work on his own projects by the light of a single oil lamp. Henry's first major breakthrough came with the creation of his own gasoline engine. It was a crude device by today's standards, but to Henry it was a triumph. It proved that his ideas were not just dreams. They were possible. The engine was a stepping stone to something greater, a symbol of what determination and innovation could achieve. The path was not easy. There were those who doubted him, who saw his inventions as fanciful or unnecessary. But Henry was undeterred. He knew that to change the world, he had to challenge the status quo. He had to believe in the impossible and then make it a reality. It was this belief, this unshakable conviction, that led to the creation of the Ford Motor Company. Henry's vision was clear: to build a car that was affordable, reliable, and, most importantly, available to the average person. The automobile, he believed, was not just a luxury for the wealthy, but a necessity for all, a means to bridge distances, connect communities, and open up new possibilities for millions. The Model T, Henry's masterpiece, was the embodiment of this vision. It was more than just a car. It was a vehicle of change, both literally and metaphorically. Its success was not merely in its sales, which were unprecedented, but in its impact. The Model T transformed America, turning the car from a novelty into a staple of American life. Henry Ford's story is a testament to the power of dreams and the relentless pursuit of innovation. From a young dreamer on a Michigan farm to the pioneer of the automotive industry, Henry's journey is a reminder that with curiosity, determination, and a willingness to challenge the impossible, we can change the world. As we reflect on Henry's life and legacy, we are reminded of the importance of looking beyond the world as it is, to imagine the world as it could be. Henry Ford did not just build cars. He built the future. And in doing so, he showed us that the most powerful machine of all is the human mind, fueled by dreams and driven by the desire to make those dreams a reality. This story of Henry Ford, the young dreamer who revolutionized the way we live, is not just a tale of the past. It's a blueprint for the future, a call to all of us to dream big, to innovate, and to never stop believing that we can make the world a better place. For in the heart of every dreamer lies the potential to change the world, just as Henry Ford did. One idea, one invention, one leap of faith at a time. Chapter 2. A Self-Made Mechanic. In the bustling heart of Detroit, a city on the cusp of industrial greatness, Henry Ford embarked on a journey that would redefine his life and the future of transportation. Armed with nothing but a relentless drive and a passion for mechanics, Henry stepped into the world of engineering, a self-made man determined to leave his mark. The young Henry Ford was not one to follow a conventional path. While others sought formal education in the grand institutions of learning, Henry found his classroom in the real world. His teachers were the engines he dismantled and reassembled, the machinery he repaired, and the endless problems he solved. This hands-on approach to learning was unconventional, yet it laid the foundation for his unparalleled innovations. Henry's first workshop was a modest affair, a small shed behind his family home, filled with tools, scraps of metal, and the pervasive smell of oil and sweat. This humble space became the birthplace of his dreams, a sanctuary where his ideas could take shape, away from the skeptical eyes of the world. Here, in the quiet of the night, Henry would toil away, driven by a vision that only he could see. The creation of his first gasoline engine was a milestone, a tangible proof of his potential. This engine, rudimentary by any standard, was a marvel of ingenuity and perseverance. It was not just an assembly of metal and bolts. It was a declaration, a challenge to the status quo. In those days, gasoline engines were a curiosity, far from the powerful and reliable machines we know today. Henry's engine, however, was a step towards making them accessible and practical for everyday use. The process was fraught with challenges. Henry had to rely on trial and error, with each failure teaching him more than success ever could. He learned to embrace these setbacks, understanding that each one brought him closer to his goal. The scarcity of resources and information only fueled his determination. Books on engineering were scarce, and mentors even scarcer, yet Henry's quest for knowledge was unquenchable. He devoured any material he could find, from patents to scientific journals, each page a building block in his self-education. His breakthrough came not just from his technical skills, but from his ability to envision a different future. While others saw machines as tools for the present, Henry saw them as keys to the future. His engine was more than a source of power. It was a vehicle for change, a way to make the world smaller, closer, more connected. As word of his invention spread, Henry began to attract attention. Skeptics and supporters alike were drawn to the young mechanic with big dreams. Some saw in him a kindred spirit, a pioneer pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Others doubted, unable to see past the limitations of the present. But Henry remained undeterred, fueled by a conviction that his work would one day change the world. The creation of the gasoline engine was just the beginning. With each success, Henry's ambitions grew. He knew that the true test of his vision was not in the workshop, but in the marketplace. To bring his dream to fruition, he would need to build not just an engine, but an entire car. And not just any car, but one that was affordable, reliable, and above all, available to the average person. This dream was revolutionary. At the time, cars were luxuries, reserved for the wealthy and the adventurous. Henry's vision was different. He saw the automobile as a democratic force, a way to break down social barriers and bring freedom and mobility to the masses. It was a bold idea, one that would require all his ingenuity and perseverance to realize. Henry's journey from a self-made mechanic to the founder of the Ford Motor Company was not a straight path. It was a road filled with obstacles, detours, and setbacks. Yet, with each challenge, Henry's resolve only strengthened. He knew that true innovation was not just about building machines. It was about building the future. In the small workshop where it all began, Henry Ford laid the groundwork for a revolution. His early career as a mechanic, his self-education in engineering, and the creation of his first gasoline engine were the first chapters in a story that would change the world. It was a testament to the power of determination, vision, and the belief that one person's dream can indeed become a reality. As we look back on Henry's early years, we are reminded of the enduring value of curiosity, hard work, and the courage to pursue one's dreams. Henry Ford's story is not just a tale of technological achievement. It is a narrative of human potential. A reminder that with passion and perseverance, we can overcome any obstacle and turn the impossible into the possible. Chapter 3. The Vision of Affordable Cars. In a world where cars were the playthings of the rich, a luxury beyond the reach of the average person, Henry Ford dared to dream differently. He envisioned a future where every American family could own a car, where the freedom of the road was not just for the few, but for everyone. This vision, bold and revolutionary, was set to challenge the very fabric of society. Henry's idea was simple yet profound: to produce a car that was affordable, reliable, and easy to maintain. He saw the automobile not just as a means of transportation, but as a force for democracy, a tool that could bridge social divides and bring people together. In Henry's eyes, the car was more than a machine. It was a key to independence, a way to explore the vastness of the country, to connect distant communities, and to open up new opportunities for work and leisure. The task was monumental. At the time, cars were handcrafted by skilled artisans, each vehicle a masterpiece of engineering and design, but also expensive and time-consuming to produce. Henry's vision required a radical rethinking of production methods, a departure from craftsmanship to mass production. It was a concept that many deemed impossible, a dream too big to achieve. But Henry Ford was no stranger to challenges. Armed with his unshakable belief in the possible, Henry set to work. He gathered around him a team of like-minded individuals, engineers and dreamers, each one committed to the cause. Together they embarked on a journey of innovation and discovery, experimenting with new materials, designs and production techniques. The goal was clear: to build a car that was sturdy, efficient, and, most importantly, affordable. The result of their efforts was the Model T, a car that would change the world. Introduced in 1908, the Model T was a marvel of simplicity and functionality. With its rugged design and versatile engine, it was suited to the rough roads of early 20th century America. But what truly set the Model T apart was its price. Through the efficiencies of mass production, Henry Ford was able to dramatically reduce the cost of manufacturing, making the car accessible to a broad segment of the population. The introduction of the assembly line was a turning point. Borrowing ideas from other industries, Henry and his team created a production line that was a model of efficiency. Cars were assembled piece by piece, moving from station to station, with each worker responsible for a specific task. This method not only sped up production, but also lowered costs, making the Model T even more affordable. The impact of the Model T was immediate and far-reaching. For the first time, the middle class could afford to own a car, to experience the freedom and mobility that had once been the exclusive domain of the wealthy. The Model T became a symbol of American ingenuity and the democratization of technology. It transformed the automobile industry, setting a new standard for production and quality. But Henry's vision went beyond just making cars affordable. He believed in the welfare of his workers, understanding that a happy, well-paid workforce was essential to his company's success. In 1914, he introduced the $5 workday, doubling the average wage and reducing the workday from 9 to 8 hours. This move not only improved the lives of thousands of workers, but also set a new precedent for labor rights and economic justice. Henry Ford's vision of affordable cars was more than just an economic achievement. It was a social revolution. The Model T opened up new horizons for millions of Americans, enabling them to travel freely, to explore new places, and to connect with others in ways that had previously been unimaginable. It marked the beginning of a new era in transportation, one where mobility was not just a luxury, but a right. As we reflect on Henry Ford's vision, we are reminded of the power of innovation and determination. His dream of affordable cars challenged the status quo, breaking down barriers and opening up new possibilities. The Model T was not just a vehicle. It was a promise of a brighter, more inclusive future, a testament to the belief that through hard work and ingenuity, anything is possible. Henry Ford's legacy is not just in the cars he built, but in the world he helped to shape. A world where distance is no barrier to connection, where opportunity is not bound by social status, and where the freedom to move is a freedom for all. His vision of affordable cars was a catalyst for change, a driving force in the journey towards a more democratic and connected society. In the story of the Model T, we see the embodiment of the American dream, a reminder that with courage and conviction, we can transform our wildest dreams into reality. Henry Ford's journey from a humble mechanic to a pioneer of mass production is a tale of perseverance, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of a better world. It is a narrative that inspires us to look beyond the limits of the present, to imagine a future where anything is possible, and to work tirelessly to make that future a reality. Chapter 4. The Birth of Ford Motor Company. In the bustling heart of Detroit, amidst the clang and clamour of the burgeoning industrial age, a new chapter in the story of transportation was about to begin. It was the year 1903, a time of innovation and change, when Henry Ford, a visionary with a dream to revolutionize the way we move, founded the Ford Motor Company. This was no ordinary beginning. It was the dawn of a new era, marked by determination, innovation, and the pursuit of an unprecedented dream. The founding of the Ford Motor Company was not without its challenges. Capital was scarce, skepticism was rampant, and the competition fierce. The automotive industry was in its infancy, fraught with uncertainty and failure. Many had tried to enter the arena, only to find their hopes dashed against the harsh realities of business and technology. But Henry Ford was undeterred. With a steadfast belief in his vision and a relentless drive to succeed, he set out to build a company that would not just survive, but thrive. Henry's journey to this pivotal moment had been a testament to perseverance. From his early experiments in his backyard workshop to the creation of his first gasoline engine, he had faced setbacks and skepticism at every turn. Yet, with each challenge, his resolve only grew stronger. He had a vision of a world transformed by accessible, affordable transportation, and he was determined to make that vision a reality. The early days of the Ford Motor Company were marked by hard work, innovation, and a constant search for improvement. Henry and his team of engineers and workers poured their hearts and souls into their work, experimenting with designs, refining production techniques, and pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Their goal was clear: to create a car that was simple, reliable, and, above all, affordable for the average American. The first car produced by the company, the Model A, was a testament to their efforts. It was a simple machine, but it embodied the principles that would guide the company in the years to come. However, success was not immediate. The automotive market was crowded with competitors, many of whom had deeper pockets and more established brands. Henry knew that to succeed, he would need to do more than just build a good car. He would need to build a better way of building cars. The breakthrough came with the development of the assembly line, a revolutionary approach to manufacturing that would change the industry forever. Inspired by the efficiency of production lines in other industries, Henry and his team adapted the concept for car manufacturing. This innovation allowed them to produce cars faster and more cheaply than ever before, dramatically lowering the cost of the automobile and making it accessible to a broader segment of the population. But the journey was not just about technological innovation. It was also about challenging the social norms of the day. Henry's decision to pay his workers an unprecedented $5 a day was a radical move that not only improved the lives of his employees, but also set a new standard for worker compensation across industries. It was a clear demonstration of his belief that the success of a company was not just measured by its profits, but by its positive impact on society. The early years of the Ford Motor Company were a time of trial and triumph, of setbacks and breakthroughs. Each challenge was met with determination, each failure with a renewed commitment to succeed. Through it all, Henry Ford's vision remained unwavering. He believed in the power of innovation, in the dignity of work, and in the promise of a better future made possible by accessible transportation. As the Ford Motor Company grew, so too did its impact on the world. The Model T, introduced in 1908, became a symbol of American ingenuity and the democratization of the automobile. It was not just a car, it was a vehicle for change, transforming the way people lived, worked, and connected with one another. The success of the Model T and the innovations in production that made it possible marked the Ford Motor Company as a leader in the automotive industry, a position it would hold for decades to come. The story of the Ford Motor Company's early years is a testament to the power of a dream. It is a reminder that with vision, courage, and hard work, even the loftiest goals can be achieved. Henry Ford's journey from a small workshop in Detroit to the head of a global enterprise is a narrative of perseverance, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of progress. It is a story that inspires us to dream big, to challenge the status quo, and to never stop believing in the possibility of a better world. As we reflect on the founding of the Ford Motor Company and the struggles and successes of its early years, we are reminded of the enduring impact of one man's dream. Henry Ford's vision of affordable, reliable cars for the average American did not just change the automotive industry. it changed the world. It is a legacy of innovation, determination, and the belief that through hard work and creativity, anything is possible. Chapter 5. The Model T Revolution. In the heart of early 20th century America, amidst the clamour of progress and the whisper of change, the Ford Motor Company unveiled an invention that would forever alter the landscape of the nation, the Model T, dubbed the Tin Lizzie. This marvel of engineering and vision was not merely a vehicle. It was the harbinger of a revolution, a testament to the power of innovation and the indomitable spirit of Henry Ford. From the outset, the Model T was designed to be different. It was a car for the common man, built with the purpose of durability, reliability, and affordability. Henry Ford's vision was clear: to create a car that was simple enough for anyone to drive and repair, yet robust enough to navigate the rugged American terrain. The Model T's design was revolutionary, featuring a lightweight yet sturdy frame, a flexible suspension system to handle rough roads, and a simple, reliable engine that promised freedom and mobility to its owner. The production of the Model T introduced the world to the assembly line, a groundbreaking innovation that transformed manufacturing. Henry Ford's vision of efficiency and affordability was brought to life through this process, where each worker performed a single task, contributing to the construction of the car as it moved down the line. This method not only accelerated production times, but also drastically reduced costs, making the Model T the first automobile accessible to the masses. The impact of the Model T on America and the world cannot be overstated. It democratized automobile ownership, breaking the chains that bound people to their immediate surroundings and granting them the freedom to explore, to venture beyond the confines of their daily lives. The Model T made travel accessible, connecting rural and urban America, fostering a sense of unity, and opening up new opportunities for commerce and communication. But the Model T's influence extended far beyond the realm of transportation. It reshaped the American landscape, spurring the development of roads and highways, fueling the growth of suburbs, and giving rise to the culture of the road trip. It transformed the economy, creating a surge in demand for oil, rubber, and steel, and inspiring countless businesses, from service stations to roadside diners. The Model T also had a profound impact on labour and industry. The success of the assembly line led to its adoption across various sectors, revolutionizing manufacturing processes worldwide. Henry Ford's policy of paying his workers a fair wage, epitomized by the famous $5 workday, not only improved the lives of countless individuals, but also set a new standard for worker compensation, contributing to the growth of the middle class. As the years passed, the Model T became more than just a car. It became a symbol of American ingenuity and the embodiment of the dream that mobility and freedom were not privileges of the few, but rights of the many. The Tin Lizzie became a fixture on American roads, a common thread in the fabric of everyday life, and a character in the unfolding story of the nation. The legacy of the Model T endures to this day. It stands as a monument to Henry Ford's vision, a reminder of the moment when America embraced the future, stepping into an era of unprecedented mobility and change. The Model T revolutionized not just how people traveled, but how they lived, worked, and dreamed. It made Ford a household name, synonymous with innovation, progress, and the democratization of technology. In reflecting on the journey of the Model T, from its inception in Henry Ford's workshop to its place in the annals of history, we are reminded of the power of vision and perseverance. The Model T's story is a testament to the idea that, with determination and ingenuity, obstacles can be overcome and the world can be transformed. It is a narrative of progress, a celebration of the spirit of innovation that drives us forward, and a tribute to the belief that in the pursuit of a better future, nothing is beyond our reach. The Model T stands as a beacon of progress, a symbol of the American dream realized, a reminder that from humble beginnings, great things can emerge. It is a story of how one man's vision can ignite a revolution, changing the course of history and leaving an indelible mark on the world. In the tale of the Model T, we find inspiration, a call to embrace the challenges of our times with the same courage and creativity that brought the Tin Lizzie to life, and to continue the journey of innovation, forging new paths and shaping the future, one bold step at a time. Chapter 6. The Assembly Line Innovation. Early 20th century, amidst the roar of industry and the spark of innovation, a revolution was brewing in the heart of Detroit. The Ford Motor Company, under the visionary leadership of Henry Ford, was about to unveil a breakthrough that would forever change the face of manufacturing: the assembly line. This innovation was not merely a new method of production, it was a symbol of efficiency, a beacon of progress that illuminated the path to a new era. The concept was elegantly simple, yet profoundly impactful. Instead of having workers move from car to car, adding parts until each vehicle was complete, Ford envisioned a system where the car would move to the workers. Each worker would perform a single task, and as the car moved down the line, it would be gradually assembled. This method dramatically reduced the time it took to build a car, transforming the process from hours into mere minutes. The introduction of the assembly line was a testament to Ford's belief in the principles of efficiency and standardization. He sought not only to make cars affordable, but to streamline the very process of their creation. By breaking down the assembly process into simple, repeatable steps, Ford made it possible for workers with limited skills to contribute effectively, democratizing the workforce and opening up employment opportunities to a broader segment of society. The impact of the assembly line was immediate and profound. Production times plummeted, costs were slashed, and the Ford Motor Company was able to produce cars at an unprecedented rate. The Model T, once a marvel of engineering, became a symbol of accessibility. It was no longer a luxury item for the few but a staple of American life, within reach of the average family. The assembly line turned the dream of mass mobility into a tangible reality, fueling the rise of the automobile as an indispensable part of modern existence. But the influence of the assembly line extended far beyond the walls of the Ford factory. It revolutionized the manufacturing industry as a whole, setting a new standard for production efficiency. Other industries soon adopted the technique, applying the principles of the assembly line to everything from household appliances to clothing. The ripple effects of Ford's innovation were felt worldwide, ushering in an age of mass production that shaped the economic landscape of the 20th century. The assembly line also had a profound impact on labor. Workers were now part of a system, each performing a specific role in the production process. This specialization led to increased productivity, but also raised questions about the nature of work and the value of individual skill. Ford addressed these concerns by implementing the $500 workday, a revolutionary wage that not only improved the lives of his workers, but also set a new precedent for fair compensation in the industrial age. The assembly line represented more than just a method of production. It embodied the spirit of innovation and the relentless pursuit of efficiency. It was a reflection of Henry Ford's vision for the future, a world where technology and ingenuity could combine to create abundance and prosperity for all. The success of the assembly line was a testament to the power of this vision, proving that with creativity and determination, even the most ambitious dreams could be realized. As the years passed, the assembly line continued to evolve, incorporating new technologies and methodologies to further enhance efficiency and productivity. Yet, at its core, it remained a symbol of Ford's revolutionary impact on manufacturing and his enduring legacy in the annals of industrial history. In reflecting on the assembly line innovation, we are reminded of the transformative power of ideas. Henry Ford's breakthrough did not just streamline production, it redefined the possibilities of what could be achieved when visionaries dare to challenge the status quo. The assembly line stands as a monument to human ingenuity, a reminder that through innovation and collaboration, we can overcome obstacles and forge a path to a brighter future. The story of the assembly line is not just a chapter in the history of the Ford Motor Company. It is a narrative that resonates with the spirit of progress, echoing through the decades, as a testament to the impact one idea can have on the world. It is a tale of transformation, of how a simple shift in perspective can unleash a wave of change, propelling us forward into new realms of possibility and achievement. In the legacy of the assembly line, we find inspiration to continue the quest for innovation, to seek out new solutions, and to build upon the foundations of the past, driving ever onward in the relentless pursuit of excellence and progress. Chapter 7. Fordlandia, the dream of a utopia. In the heart of the Brazilian Amazon, far from the bustling factories and roaring assembly lines of Detroit, Henry Ford embarked on one of the most ambitious and visionary projects of his career, Fordlandia. This was not just an attempt to establish a rubber plantation to supply his automobile empire with essential materials. It was an endeavor to create a utopian society, a model of efficiency and prosperity deep in the wilderness. Ford's vision for Fordlandia was grand. He imagined a community that mirrored the principles and values of small-town America, with neat rows of houses, schools, hospitals, and recreational facilities. It was to be a place where workers and their families could live in harmony with nature while enjoying the benefits of modern technology and progressive management. The dream was bold and the intentions noble. But the reality of Fordlandia was far from what Henry Ford had envisioned. The challenges were immense from the start. The Amazonian jungle was a world away from the orderly life of industrial America. Its climate, its diseases, and its ecosystem presented hurdles that Ford and his team, accustomed to the predictability of machines and assembly lines, were ill-prepared to handle. The task of clearing the jungle to plant rubber trees, building infrastructure in such a remote location, and managing a workforce unfamiliar with Ford's methods proved daunting. Despite these obstacles, Fordlandia began to take shape. Houses were built, streets were laid out, and the first rubber trees were planted. Ford's vision seemed to be coming to life. However, the project faced setbacks. The rubber trees, planted too closely together, fell prey to leaf disease. The workers, unaccustomed to the rigid structure and unfamiliar diet imposed by Ford's managers, grew discontented. Riots broke out, and the dream of a harmonious community began to unravel. Fordlandia's struggle was not just with nature, or with the logistics of creating a town from scratch in the middle of the jungle. It was also a clash of cultures. Ford's attempt to transplant American ideals and practices into the Amazon ignored the complexities of the local environment and the traditions of the people who lived there. This oversight led to resistance and ultimately to the project's downfall. Despite the best efforts of Ford and his team, Fordlandia never became the rubber-producing powerhouse or the utopian society that Ford had envisioned. By the late 1930s, it was clear that the project had failed. The plantation produced very little rubber, and the dream of a self-sufficient, idyllic community in the Amazon faded away. In 1945, Fordlandia was sold back to the Brazilian government at a loss, marking the end of one of Henry Ford's most audacious ventures. Yet the story of Fordlandia is more than a tale of failure. It is a narrative of ambition, of the desire to push the boundaries of what is possible, and of the complexities of trying to impose one vision of utopia on a vastly different world. Fordlandia stands as a reminder of the limitations of human endeavour, a testament to the fact that not all dreams, no matter how well-intentioned, come to fruition. In reflecting on Fordlandia, we learn valuable lessons about the importance of understanding and respecting the environment and cultures in which we seek to make our mark. It teaches us about the hubris of believing that we can control nature and bend it to our will, and about the dangers of imposing our own ideals on others without empathy or consideration. Fordlandia's legacy is not just one of failure, but also of the lessons learned from its ambitious undertaking. It serves as a cautionary tale about the limits of industrialization and the need for sustainable, culturally sensitive approaches to development. In the end, Fordlandia is a chapter in Henry Ford's life that highlights the complexity of his character, a visionary who dared to dream big, but who also faced the humbling reality of his limitations. As we move forward, Fordlandia reminds us of the importance of pursuing our dreams with both ambition and humility, recognizing that the path to progress is not always straight, and that success is not just about achieving our goals, but also about learning from our missteps. It encourages us to dream, to strive, and to remember that in the pursuit of our utopias, we must remain mindful of the world around us, cherishing and respecting the diversity of life and culture that makes our planet so wonderfully complex. Chapter 8. The $5 Workday. In the bustling industrial landscape of early 20th century America, a bold and unprecedented announcement echoed from the Ford Motor Company, setting the stage for a dramatic shift in the relationship between employers and their workers. Henry Ford, in a move that stunned contemporaries and industry watchers alike, declared that he would double the wages of his employees to $5 a day. This decision was not merely an act of generosity. It was a strategic and visionary step that would redefine the standards of labour, improve the lives of countless individuals, and leave an indelible mark on the fabric of American society. Before this groundbreaking decision, the average wage for factory workers was barely enough to meet the basic needs of a family, leaving little room for anything beyond mere survival. Workers toiled for long hours under challenging conditions, with the monotony of the assembly line and the physical demands of the job taking a toll on their health and well-being. The concept of a living wage, sufficient to ensure a decent standard of living, was a distant dream for many. Henry Ford's vision extended far beyond the production lines of his factories. He saw his workers not just as cogs in the vast machinery of his automotive empire, but as human beings with aspirations, families, and the right to share in the prosperity their labour helped create. By doubling their pay, Ford sought to uplift not only his employees, but also to set a new standard for wages across industries, challenging other employers to follow suit. The $5 workday was revolutionary for several reasons. First, it acknowledged the fundamental role of workers in the success of a company, valuing their contribution and rewarding them accordingly. This move helped to foster a sense of loyalty and dedication among Ford's employees, reducing turnover and building a more skilled and stable workforce. It was a testament to Ford's belief in the principles of fairness and equity, principles that would come to define his legacy as much as his innovations in automobile manufacturing. Second, Ford's decision had a profound impact on the economy as a whole. By putting more money into the hands of his workers, he effectively increased their purchasing power, contributing to a boost in consumer spending. This, in turn, stimulated demand for goods and services, driving economic growth and creating a virtuous cycle of prosperity that extended far beyond the gates of the Ford factories. In a sense, Ford was not just paying his workers, he was investing in the future of the American economy. The $5 workday also had significant social implications. With higher wages, Ford's employees could afford better housing, education for their children, and a higher standard of living. This contributed to the growth of the middle class, a demographic expansion that would have far-reaching effects on American society, shaping the nation's culture, politics, and identity in the decades to come. Ford's vision of shared prosperity helped to bridge the gap between the wealthy and the working class, promoting social cohesion and stability. Critics at the time argued that Ford's decision was economically unsustainable, that it would lead to higher costs and make American industry less competitive. But Ford proved them wrong. The increase in wages was offset by gains in productivity and efficiency, as well as by the growth in sales driven by a booming consumer market. Ford's company became a model of success, demonstrating that it was possible to treat workers fairly and still thrive as a business. In retrospect, the $5 workday was not just a milestone in the history of labor. It was a pivotal moment in the story of modern capitalism. It showed that economic prosperity need not come at the expense of workers' welfare, and that a more equitable distribution of wealth was not only morally right, but also economically viable. Henry Ford's bold decision paved the way for future advancements in labor rights, including shorter work weeks, better working conditions, and the rise of labor unions. Today, the legacy of the $5 workday continues to inspire. It serves as a reminder of the power of visionary leadership and the importance of valuing the human element in the world of business. In an age where the debate over wages, workers' rights, and economic inequality is as relevant as ever, Ford's pioneering decision stands as a testament to the idea that prosperity is most meaningful when it is shared. As we reflect on the impact of the $5 workday, we are reminded that progress is not just about technological innovation or economic growth. It is about improving the lives of people, about creating a society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Henry Ford's decision to double his workers' pay was a bold step towards that ideal, a chapter in the larger story of our ongoing journey towards a more equitable and just world. Chapter 9. The Battle Against the Selden Patent. In the early days of the automobile industry, a shadow loomed over the burgeoning field of innovation and progress. This shadow was cast by the Selden patent, a legal claim that threatened to stifle the growth of the automotive sector and monopolize automobile manufacturing. At the heart of this battle stood Henry Ford, a visionary entrepreneur who found himself pitted against a formidable adversary in a struggle that would define the future of transportation. The story begins with George B. Selden, a patent attorney who, in 1879, filed a patent for a road engine powered by a liquid hydrocarbon engine. For years, this patent lay dormant, largely unnoticed as the automotive industry was still in its infancy. However, as automobiles began to gain popularity, the electric vehicle company, which held the rights to the Selden patent, saw an opportunity to capitalize on this emerging market. They claimed that the patent covered virtually all gasoline-powered automobiles, demanding royalties from any company manufacturing or selling cars. Many in the industry bowed to the electric vehicle company's demands, fearing costly legal battles or the potential shutdown of their operations. However, Henry Ford, whose Ford Motor Company was on the rise, refused to submit. He saw the Selden patent as an unjust obstacle to innovation and competition, a barrier that prevented new ideas and technologies from flourishing. Ford decided to challenge the patent, setting the stage for a legal showdown that would captivate the nation. The case, officially known as the Ford Motor Company versus the Association of Licensed Automobile Manufacturers, ALAM, was not just a dispute over a patent. It was a battle for the soul of the automobile industry. Ford argued that the patent was invalid, claiming that Selden had never built a working model of his invention and that his patent was too broad, covering concepts and technologies that he had not invented. Ford's stance was clear. The future of the automobile should not be controlled by patent monopolies, but should be open to all who could contribute to its development. The legal battle was long and arduous, stretching over 8 years of courtrooms, testimonies, and legal wrangling. The case delved into the technicalities of patent law, the history of automobile development, and the very principles of innovation and competition. Ford's determination was unyielding, driven by a belief that no single patent should hinder the progress of an entire industry. In 1911, the court delivered its verdict. Henry Ford had won. The court ruled that the Selden patent was valid but applied only to automobiles that used a very specific type of engine that was not used by most manufacturers, including Ford. This narrow interpretation of the patent rendered it virtually useless in restricting automobile production, freeing the industry from the grip of the electric vehicle company and the Selden patent. The victory was a turning point for the automotive industry and for Henry Ford. It signaled the end of the patent's stranglehold on automobile manufacturing, opening the door to a flood of innovation and competition. Manufacturers were free to design and build cars without fear of litigation, accelerating the growth of the industry and making automobiles more accessible to the public. Ford's triumph in the battle against the Selden patent was not just a personal victory, it was a victory for the spirit of innovation. It underscored the importance of competition in driving progress and highlighted the dangers of allowing patents to become barriers to new ideas. Ford emerged from the legal battle as a champion of the open market, a defender of the right to innovate. The battle against the Selden patent is a testament to Henry Ford's determination and his commitment to the principles of innovation and fair competition. It serves as a powerful reminder that the path to progress is often fraught with obstacles, but that these challenges can be overcome with perseverance and a steadfast belief in the value of open innovation. As we reflect on this pivotal moment in the history of the automobile industry, we are reminded of the importance of protecting the freedom to innovate. The battle against the Selden patent not only shaped the future of transportation, but also set a precedent for how we think about patents, innovation, and the collective pursuit of progress. It is a story of courage, conviction, and the enduring power of an idea whose time has come. Chapter 10. The Flivver. The plane for everyone. In the wake of revolutionizing the automobile industry, Henry Ford turned his visionary gaze skyward, dreaming of a future where the freedom of the open road extended into the boundless blue of the sky. This dream took form in an ambitious and somewhat lesser-known venture, the Ford Flivver, a bold attempt to craft the Model T of the air, a plane for everyone. The Ford Flivver was born from Ford's belief that the skies, much like the roads, should be accessible to all, not just the privileged few. He envisioned a world where individual ownership of aircraft was as common and as practical as owning a car, a world where the average person could take to the air with the same ease as they took to the road. The Flivver was to be the realization of this vision, a small, single-seat airplane that promised to democratize flight and transform aviation in much the same way the Model T had transformed automotive travel. Designing the Flivver was no small feat. It required reimagining what an airplane could be, stripping it down to its essentials to create something affordable, simple to operate, and easy to maintain. The result was a tiny, quirky-looking craft, with a wingspan short enough to fit in a standard garage and a weight light enough to be maneuvered by hand on the ground. It was a testament to Ford's commitment to simplicity and efficiency, embodying his philosophy that less could indeed be more. The development of the Flivver was marked by the same spirit of innovation that had characterized Ford's approach to cars. Just as the assembly line had revolutionized automobile manufacturing, Ford sought to apply similar principles to the production of the Flivver, aiming to make aircraft manufacturing more efficient and to bring the cost of planes within reach of the average person. It was a daring endeavor, one that sought to open a new chapter in the story of human mobility. However, the journey of the Ford Flivver was not without turbulence. Aviation in the early 20th century was a field fraught with challenges, from the technical difficulties of designing safe and reliable aircraft to the broader societal skepticism about the practicality and safety of personal flight. The Flivver, with its unconventional design and ambitious goals, faced its share of skepticism and hurdles. Despite these challenges, Ford pressed on, driven by a conviction that the future of transportation lay in the skies. The Flivver made several successful flights, capturing the imagination of the public and demonstrating the potential for personal aircraft. Yet the dream of mass-produced, affordable planes for the masses proved to be ahead of its time. Technical limitations, safety concerns, and the tragic death of a test pilot in a Flivver crash ultimately led to the project's cancellation. The Ford Flivver may not have achieved the widespread impact Ford envisioned, but it remains a fascinating chapter in the history of aviation and a testament to Ford's unwavering belief in the power of innovation. It reflected a vision of a future where the freedom of flight was as universal as the freedom of the road, a dream that, though unfulfilled, pushed the boundaries of what was considered possible. The legacy of the Ford Flivver extends beyond the aircraft itself. It serves as a reminder of the importance of dreaming big and challenging the status quo. Ford's foray into aviation illustrates that the path of innovation is often marked by setbacks and failures, but that these are not endpoints. Rather, they are stepping stones to future discoveries. The Flivver story encourages us to look beyond the immediate horizon, to imagine a world transformed by innovation, and to pursue those visions with courage and determination. In reflecting on the tale of the Ford Flivver, we are inspired to consider how today's dreams can become tomorrow's reality. Just as Ford saw the potential for the skies to be filled with the hum of personal aircraft, we are called to envision new possibilities for the future of transportation and beyond. The Flivver reminds us that innovation is not just about creating new technologies, but about reimagining how we connect with the world and with each other. The story of the Ford Flivver, Henry Ford's bold attempt to make planes as common as cars, stands as a symbol of the endless quest for progress, a chapter in the larger narrative of human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of a world where the freedom to explore knows no bounds. It is a story of vision, ambition, and the enduring power of a dream. Chapter 11. Racing to Success. In the dawn of the 20th century, when the automobile industry was still in its infancy and cars were more novelty than necessity, Henry Ford embraced a daring strategy to prove the worth of his creations. He turned to the thrilling world of racing. It was a move that would not only test the mettle of his machines but also catapult Ford into the spotlight, marking the beginning of an automotive empire. The stage for this pivotal moment in Ford's history was set in 1901, at a time when Ford was a relatively unknown figure, with his first automotive venture having faltered. Racing was popular, drawing large crowds eager to witness the spectacle of speed and the prowess of these mechanical marvels. Ford saw in racing an opportunity to demonstrate the reliability and performance of his automobiles, to show the world that his vehicles were not just practical, but powerful and durable. The event that would change the course of Ford's life and the future of the American automobile industry was a race in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. Ford, with limited resources but an abundance of determination, entered the competition with a car of his own design and construction. It was a bold move, going head-to-head against Alexander Winton, the leading race car driver of the time, and a well-established figure in the automotive world. Ford's car was not the most visually impressive machine on the track that day. It was smaller and less powerful than its competitors, but what it lacked in size, it made up for in ingenuity and efficiency. Ford himself took the wheel, despite having little racing experience, driven by a conviction in his vehicle's capabilities and his mechanical skill. As the race commenced, the air was thick with anticipation. The roar of engines and the cheers of the spectators filled the atmosphere, a palpable tension hanging over the track. Ford's car, against all odds, proved to be a formidable contender. It was lighter and more agile, able to navigate the turns with ease and maintain high speeds on the straights. The race was grueling, pushing both car and driver to their limits. But as the final laps approached, it became clear that Ford was in the lead. Crossing the finish line, Henry Ford secured not just a victory on the track, but a triumph that would echo far beyond the confines of the racecourse. The win was a testament to the quality of his automobile, proof that it could outperform the best in the field. The race catapulted Ford into public consciousness, earning him recognition and respect within the automotive community and among the general public. The success of the 1901 race was more than a personal victory for Ford. It was a strategic masterstroke that highlighted the potential of racing as a marketing tool. It demonstrated to investors, potential customers, and the world at large that Ford's vehicles were worth paying attention to. The win provided the momentum Ford needed to launch his next venture, the Ford Motor Company, which would go on to redefine transportation with the Model T and the introduction of assembly line production. Ford's use of racing to prove his car's durability and performance set a precedent for the automobile industry, showcasing the importance of innovation, resilience, and the power of public spectacle. Racing became an arena where manufacturers could test new technologies and designs, a tradition that continues to this day, with modern automakers still using the racetrack as a proving ground for their vehicles. The 1901 race was more than just a footnote in automotive history. It was a defining moment that illustrated the intersection of ambition, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of success. It underscored the role of competition, not just in pushing the boundaries of technology, but in inspiring individuals and companies to achieve greatness. As we reflect on this chapter of Henry Ford's life, we are reminded of the enduring lessons it teaches, the value of taking risks, the importance of perseverance, and the transformative power of believing in one's vision. Ford's racing success laid the foundation for an empire, but at its heart, It is a story of how determination, ingenuity, and a single race can alter the course of history. It is a narrative that inspires us to strive for excellence, to embrace challenges, and to never underestimate the impact of proving oneself against the odds. Chapter 12. The Peace Ship. In the midst of the devastating turmoil of World War I, as nations were embroiled in conflict and the world seemed consumed by violence, Henry Ford embarked on an unprecedented and audacious mission for peace. In 1915, with the war raging in Europe, Ford turned his attention from the assembly lines and the roar of engines to a cause that spoke to the very heart of humanity: the quest for peace. His plan was as bold as it was controversial: a peace ship that would sail to Europe, carrying a delegation of peace advocates to negotiate an end to World War I. Ford's anti-war efforts were deeply rooted in his personal beliefs. He viewed the conflict as a tragic waste of life and resources, a view that was both humanitarian and practical. Ford believed that business and industry could be forces for good, promoting understanding and cooperation rather than conflict. Thus, the idea of the peace ship, officially known as the Oscar II, was born. It was a tangible expression of Ford's commitment to peace, a bold initiative to bring together thinkers, leaders, and activists in a concerted effort to find a peaceful resolution to the war. The mission was met with skepticism and ridicule from many quarters. Critics dismissed Ford's plan as naive and idealistic, doubting the impact a group of civilians could have on the complex political and military dynamics of a world at war. Despite the criticism, Ford pressed on, driven by a conviction that peace was not only necessary but possible. He believed that by demonstrating a commitment to peace, by taking concrete action, he could inspire others to join the cause and pressure the warring nations into negotiations. In December 1915, the peace ship set sail from New York, bound for Europe. Aboard were more than 100 delegates, including prominent peace activists, journalists, and academics, united by a common goal but diverse in their ideas and backgrounds. The journey was fraught with challenges, not least of which was the difficulty of maintaining unity among the delegates, who found themselves divided over strategies and objectives. Yet, the very act of sailing towards a war-torn continent with a message of peace captured the public imagination and sparked debate about the war and the possibilities for peace. The peace ship's arrival in Europe did not bring the immediate end to the war that Ford had hoped for. The mission faced diplomatic hurdles, and the warring powers, deeply entrenched in their positions, were not ready to heed the call of a group of American pacifists. Despite holding meetings and rallies in several European cities, the delegation struggled to make a significant impact on the course of the conflict. Yet, in a broader sense, Ford's peace ship was not a complete failure. It served as a powerful symbol of the peace movement, drawing attention to the plight of those suffering from the war and highlighting the need for dialogue and negotiation. The mission may not have achieved its most ambitious goal, but it succeeded in sparking discussions about peace and the role of individuals and civil society in promoting it. The peace ship is a testament to Henry Ford's unwavering commitment to his principles and his willingness to take bold, unconventional actions in pursuit of what he believed was right. While history may remember the mission as a quixotic endeavor, it stands as a reminder of the importance of striving for peace, even in the face of skepticism and opposition. In reflecting on the peace ship and Ford's anti-war efforts, we are reminded of the complexity of peacemaking and the challenges that come with trying to change the course of history. Ford's initiative invites us to consider the power of conviction and the impact that individuals and collective action can have in advocating for a more peaceful world. It encourages us to think creatively and courageously about how we can contribute to the cause of peace, reminding us that sometimes the most important victories are those of the spirit, inspiring future generations to continue the quest for a world without war. Chapter 13. The Rouge Plant, a manufacturing marvel. In the Roaring Twenties, a time of booming industry and boundless innovation, Henry Ford embarked on one of his most ambitious projects yet: the creation of the Rouge Plant. Nestled in the heart of Dearborn, Michigan, this industrial complex was to become the crown jewel of Ford's empire, a manufacturing marvel that would epitomize the peak of innovation in the automotive industry. The vision behind the Rouge Plant was revolutionary. Ford imagined a facility where raw materials could enter and finished automobiles would exit, a place where the entire manufacturing process, from smelting iron to assembling cars, could be housed under one roof. This was not just about efficiency. It was about control, self-sufficiency, and the relentless pursuit of perfection. Construction of the Rouge Plant began in the early 1920s, transforming a modest parcel of farmland along the Rouge River into what would become the largest industrial complex of its time. The scale of the project was staggering, with dozens of buildings spread over a vast area, including steel mills, glass factories, and the assembly lines where Ford's cars, including the iconic Model A, were put together. The Rouge Plant was a testament to Ford's belief in vertical integration. By producing nearly every component of his vehicles on site, Ford was able to reduce costs, improve quality, and ensure a steady supply of materials. This approach was groundbreaking, setting a new standard for manufacturing and influencing industries, far beyond the automotive sector. At its peak, the Rouge Plant was a city unto itself, with over 100,000 workers clocking in every day. The complex included its own power plant, railroad tracks, and even a police force. Workers at the Rouge had access to medical care, recreational facilities, and other amenities, a reflection of Ford's commitment to the welfare of his employees. The operation of the Rouge Plant was a marvel of logistics and coordination. Raw materials arrived by ship, rail, and truck, feeding into a production process that was meticulously planned and executed. The assembly line, Ford's signature innovation, was refined and expanded at the Rouge, allowing for the production of a car every 24 seconds. The impact of the Rouge Plant extended far beyond its physical boundaries. It symbolized the might of American industry and the ingenuity of its people. Tourists and dignitaries from around the world visited the complex, marveling at its scale and efficiency. The Rouge became a symbol of progress, a concrete manifestation of the American dream. However, the Rouge Plant was not without its challenges. The sheer size of the operation made it difficult to manage, and the reliance on a single location made the company vulnerable to disruptions. The working conditions, while progressive for the time, were still harsh and dangerous, leading to labor unrest and criticism. Despite these challenges, the Rouge Plant remains a symbol of Henry Ford's vision and innovation. It showcased his ability to dream big and his relentless drive to turn those dreams into reality. The Rouge Plant was more than just a factory. It was a statement about the power of human ingenuity and the possibilities of the industrial age. Today, the Rouge Plant continues to operate, though it has evolved with the times. It stands as a testament to the legacy of Henry Ford and the indelible mark he left on manufacturing and the automotive industry. The Rouge Plant's creation and operation reflect a time when innovation knew no bounds, and the future of industry was being written in steel and steam. As we reflect on the story of the Rouge Plant, we are reminded of the importance of vision, determination, and the willingness to challenge the status quo. Henry Ford's manufacturing marvel teaches us that with the right combination of innovation and ambition, it is possible to change the world. The Rouge plant, in its heyday, was not just the heart of Ford's empire. It was a beacon of progress, pointing the way to a future where anything seemed possible. Chapter 14. The Vagabonds, Camping with Edison. Beyond the roar of factories and the clatter of assembly lines, Henry Ford, the titan of industry, nurtured a friendship with another legendary innovator, Thomas Edison. This bond between two of the most iconic figures of the early 20th century was not forged in boardrooms or at formal gatherings, but in the great outdoors, on camping trips that would come to symbolize their shared values, interests, and the depth of their human side. The group, affectionately known as the Vagabonds, included not just Ford and Edison, but also other notable figures of the time, such as the naturalist John Burroughs and tire magnate Harvey Firestone. Together, they embarked on annual excursions into the American wilderness, seeking respite from their bustling lives of innovation and enterprise. These trips were a testament to their mutual admiration and a shared belief in the restorative power of nature. The Vagabonds' adventures began in the early 1910s, a time when America's natural landscapes were becoming more accessible thanks to the automobile, yet remained untamed and majestic. The group traveled in a caravan of vehicles, equipped with the latest conveniences that their own ingenuity could devise. There were custom-built camping cars designed by Ford, portable electricity generators supplied by Edison, and an array of camping gear that made their wilderness outings comfortable and even luxurious by the standards of the day. These excursions were more than mere holidays. They were an expression of a philosophy that valued simplicity, exploration, and the joy of discovery. Ford and Edison, both self-made men who had changed the world with their inventions, found in their camping trips a way to reconnect with the elemental forces of nature and the spirit of American adventure. They fished, hiked, and sat around campfires, engaging in conversations that ranged from the practical to the philosophical, sharing ideas that would sometimes find their way into their work. The friendship between Ford and Edison was grounded in mutual respect and admiration. Ford saw in Edison not just the inventor of the electric light, but a mentor and a kindred spirit, someone who embodied the ideals of perseverance and creativity that he held dear. Edison, for his part, appreciated Ford's mechanical genius and his vision for the future of transportation. Their bond was strengthened by these annual excursions, which allowed them to step away from their roles as industrialists and to simply be friends, explorers, and thinkers. The camping trips of the Vagabonds also revealed a side of Ford that was often obscured by his public persona as a business magnate. In the wilderness, away from the pressures of running the Ford Motor Company, Ford could indulge his curiosity about the natural world, his passion for Americana, and his belief in the value of hard work and self-reliance. These trips underscored his commitment to conservation and his understanding of the importance of preserving America's natural beauty for future generations. The legacy of the Vagabonds' adventures goes beyond the personal bond between Ford and Edison. It reflects a moment in American history when the country was on the cusp of modernity, yet still deeply connected to its pioneering roots. The camping trips symbolize a bridge between the industrial age and the emerging ethos of environmentalism, leisure, and the pursuit of happiness through simple pleasures. Today, the stories of the Vagabonds' camping trips continue to inspire. They remind us of the importance of friendship, the value of stepping away from our daily routines, and the need to connect with the natural world. Henry Ford's relationship with Thomas Edison forged in the glow of campfires and under the canopy of stars, shows us that behind the facades of great inventors and industrialists lie individuals with dreams, passions, and a deep appreciation for the world around them. As we reflect on the adventures of the vagabonds, we are reminded that innovation is not just born in labs and factories, but in the human heart and mind, inspired by the wonders of nature and the bonds of friendship. The camping trips of Ford and Edison, a journey into the heart of the American wilderness, reveal the human side of these iconic figures, showcasing their curiosity, camaraderie, and shared quest for discovery. Chapter 15. The Great Depression and Ford. As the Roaring Twenties gave way to the 1930s, the United States and the world were plunged into the depths of the Great Depression, a catastrophic economic downturn that left millions jobless and countless businesses in ruin. In this era of unprecedented hardship, Henry Ford and the Ford Motor Company faced their own set of challenges, navigating turbulent waters with a mix of innovation, resilience, and a deep-seated belief in the power of industry to uplift society. The Great Depression hit the automotive industry hard. Demand for cars plummeted as people struggled to afford basic necessities, let alone luxury items like automobiles. Ford, like other manufacturers, saw a dramatic decline in sales, forcing the company to confront the harsh realities of the economic crisis head-on. The initial response was to cut costs and streamline operations, but Ford was keenly aware that mere cost-cutting would not be enough to weather the storm. One of Ford's first actions in response to the Depression was to focus on innovation, aiming to produce cars that were not only more affordable, but also more appealing to consumers. This led to the introduction of the Ford V8 in 1932, a vehicle that offered unprecedented power and performance at a price that, while still out of reach for many, represented Ford's commitment to providing value and quality even in difficult times. However, the impact of the Great Depression extended far beyond production and sales. Employment was a critical concern, with millions of Americans out of work and struggling to survive. Ford's approach to this issue was complex and sometimes controversial. On one hand, he sought to maintain employment at his factories as much as possible, recognizing the vital role that jobs played in keeping the economy moving and supporting the well-being of workers and their families. In 1932, in a bold move, Ford increased the minimum wage at his plants from $5 to $7 a day, a decision that went against the prevailing economic winds of the time. This act was not just about altruism. Ford believed that by paying his workers well, he was investing in the consumer base that the economy needed to recover. He famously argued that workers should be able to afford the products they produced, a principle that underscored his vision of a balanced and sustainable economic system. Despite these efforts, the Ford Motor Company was not immune to the pressures of the Depression. There were layoffs and plant closures, and the company faced criticism for its labor practices, including a contentious relationship with unions. The challenges of the era were compounded by personal tragedy for Ford, with the loss of his son, Edsel, in 1943, which deeply affected him and the direction of the company. Yet through these trials, the Ford Motor Company persevered. The introduction of new models and innovations in production helped the company to slowly recover from the depths of the Depression. Ford's commitment to employment and his efforts to support the welfare of his workers, though sometimes flowered, reflected a belief in the responsibility of business to society, a belief that would shape the company's policies and its legacy. The Great Depression was a defining period for Ford and his company, a time that tested their resilience, challenged their principles, and ultimately demonstrated the indomitable spirit of innovation and perseverance. It was a chapter in the larger story of America's recovery and renewal, with the automotive industry playing a crucial role in driving forward the nation's economic engine. As we look back on this tumultuous time, we are reminded of the capacity of individuals and companies to adapt and thrive, even in the face of adversity. The story of Ford and the Great Depression teaches us lessons about the importance of innovation, the value of fair labor practices, and the impact of visionary leadership. It is a testament to the strength found in determination and the belief in the power of industry to not just survive, but to contribute to the betterment of society in even the most challenging times. Chapter 16. Legacy of a Pioneer. At the heart of Ford's legacy is the Model T, the vehicle that democratized automobile ownership and mobility. Dubbed the universal car, the Model T was not merely a mode of transportation, but a symbol of freedom and independence. Ford's genius lay in his understanding that the automobile could be more than a luxury for the wealthy. It could be a staple of American life, accessible to the average person. This vision transformed the automotive industry, setting the stage for a world where the car became central to the way we live, work, and connect with each other. Beyond the vehicles he produced, Ford's true revolution was in how they were made. The introduction of the assembly line was a stroke of brilliance that redefined manufacturing. Ford's system of moving production, where each worker performed a single task on a car as it passed by, significantly lowered costs and production times. This innovation did not just make cars more affordable. It heralded a new era of mass production that would be adopted by industries worldwide, influencing everything from appliances to clothing, and making a vast array of products accessible to the masses. Ford's impact extended into the realm of labor and economics. His introduction of the $5 workday was a radical move that improved the lives of his workers and set a new standard for wages. This policy was underpinned by Ford's belief in the shared prosperity, that paying workers well was not just a matter of fairness, but a savvy business strategy that would create a market for his cars. In doing so, Ford contributed to the rise of the middle class, shaping the economic landscape of the 20th century and fostering a society where consumption and leisure became hallmarks of American culture. Yet, Ford's legacy is complex, marked by contradictions and controversies. His pioneering spirit and innovations were sometimes overshadowed by his views and practices, which sparked debate and criticism. Despite these complexities, Ford's influence on industry, labor, and the global economy is undeniable, making him a figure of historical significance, whose contributions continue to be felt today. The legacy of Henry Ford is not just in the tangible products he created, but in the ethos he embodied. He was a man driven by an unwavering belief in progress, in the power of innovation to improve lives, and in the importance of making technology accessible to all. Ford showed us that with vision and perseverance, boundaries could be pushed, and the impossible made possible. As we reflect on Ford's legacy, we are reminded of the transformative power of innovation and the responsibility that comes with it. Ford's life and work challenge us to look beyond the confines of the present, to imagine a future that is better, brighter, and within our reach. His story is a call to action, to continue pushing the limits of what we believe is possible, to strive for progress, and to build a world where the benefits of innovation are shared by all. In the end, Henry Ford's legacy is a testament to the impact one individual can have on the world. It is a narrative of achievement and aspiration, of the relentless pursuit of a vision that changed the face of the 20th century and laid the groundwork for the future. As we journey forward, we carry with us the lessons of his life, the inspiration of his innovations and the challenge to continue the work he began, driving towards a horizon of endless possibility.